Right, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. But in today's video, finally, we are going to be reviewing Hunky Dory, the album by David Bowie from 1971. One of his most famous albums. It's one of my favourites, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the first track on the album is one of his most famous songs. Actually, it's called Changes, and it's a fantastic song. I love everything about the song, from its little piano intro to the famous chorus. Yes, it's just a fantastic song. Great drums on it. The drums work really well with it, and I like all the different live versions that there are of it as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Changes. One of the singles from this album, but not my favourite single from the album. That's coming up in a little bit. But on to the next track, Oh You Pretty Things. One of my favourites, one of my personal favourites, actually. I really like the first line in the chorus. Obviously the chorus repeats, but I love his sort of high pitched delivery of the lines in that particular song. It's quite similar. It's sort of similar to Changes. I mean, this album's just a rock album anyway, but it's quite similar to Changes, but it works well within the album, and I think it's a good song. And yeah, it's one of my personal favourites. Oh You Pretty Thing leads into 8-line poem, which is a short number, but I quite like it all the same. It's fairly simple, so I don't really have much to say about it. But yeah, I quite like it. So there. Now on to potentially my favourite song from the album. In fact, it probably is Life on Mars, with a question mark on the end, by the way. Yeah, it's a fantastic song. I mean, absolutely iconic. For a TV series to be named after it, not that I've watched it of course, but a TV series to be named after it has got to be a great song, and it certainly is. The music video for it is quite good as well, actually. Just him, without any sort of explanation to the song, you know, not any connection apart from him singing it to camera. But yeah, it's a really good song. The 2016 mix of it, I prefer the normal version, but I do quite like the 2016 mix of it on the Legacy box set, and it's also in the Moon Age Daydream film, which I should do a review on. Actually, I'll watch it again and I'll do a review on that at some point. I know this isn't a film review channel, but I would do. It's a music film, so I'll do that. But yeah, Life on Mars, the string section, the beautiful sort of piano riffs and stuff in there. It's a really good song. Oh yes, and then we go on to Cooks, or Kooks, I don't really know how to say it. But yeah, it's a great. I like it. I think he's sort of taking the piss for the song, but it's a great song all the same. I think there's synthesizers in there. It might just be effects and stuff, but it's a great little song. And then on to maybe my favourite from the album. I don't know. I love all of these. Quicksand. It's a fantastic song. It's in the same sort of vein as Life on Mars in the sense of it being epic, but it is a really good song. And yeah, he did a tour. David Bowie did a tour. It's one of his later tours, and he did that song, and apparently it was very well received. But I don't think it was ever released as a single. So yeah, it was quite an unknown song, but obviously people really liked it. So there you are. Onto the B-side now, side 2, which starts with Fill Your Heart. And I like this song a lot. I like it sort of little instrumental breaks, very short instrumental breaks, but they're still in there. The strings on that is particularly nice, and I really like it very much. I like the rhythm to it. I like the rhythm to all of his songs really. And yeah, I think it's a great song, so you know, listen to this album. Next one is a song called Andy Warhol. Now I love the rest of I like all of the rest of these equally. So that's Andy Warhol, Song for Bob Dylan, Queen Bitch, and the Bowie Brothers. So I'm just going to talk about them sort of as a whole rather than going through it track by track. But yeah, I'll just talk a little bit about each of them. So Andy Warhol, it's a great little song. I think it's fairly short actually. In terms of its length, obviously, but I think it's great all the same. And there's on the Divine Symmetry box set that you can get, and there's going to be a vinyl version of it soon. But it's just going to be, I'm really excited for it actually. It's going to be Hunky Dory, but with the new mixes and some different mixes in there. So I really look forward to seeing that. I've pre-ordered it obviously. In the CD version, there's and on the version that you can find on Spotify and things like that, there is a live version of this with one of his friends singing the song, a lady who I can't remember the name of, but she did it really well and I really liked her rendition of it. And I listened to the original and I thought, oh, this is great too, you know. Yeah, it's great, it's fantastic. Then on to Song for Bob Dylan, and that is one of my favourites. It's a sweet little song, but I really like it sort of laid back rock feel. It's sort of like soft rock, but not soft rock. Yeah, I don't like soft rock very much, but yeah, it's sort of soft rock, but not really. It's just very laid back rock, and I like it very much. Yeah, it's not aggressive. It's kind of quite sweet, and I think it's really good. Then on to Queen Bitch, and this album is still not explicit, but yeah, no, it's a great song. I recently watched a documentary called Bowie at the BBC, and if you can find it, then watch it. I might link it in the description actually. But he said it was a tribute to someone, I can't remember who it was. That's going to annoy me, but yeah, he said it was a tribute to one particular band that he really liked, and I can't remember who it was, but it was a tribute to them, and I think it is a great song all the same. With the Song for Bob Dylan, it's quite a slow tempo. With Queen Bitch, it's quite fast. I think I really like the contrast of that in the track listing here. But yeah, I think it's a great little song. The Bowie Brothers, not often spoken about, but I think it's a really good way to end the album. In a similar way to Rock and Roll Suicide on Ziggy Stardust, it's a nice little way to end the album. It's a relatively quiet song, and then it sort of builds up and builds up and builds up, and then goes back down again, builds up and builds up, and then, you know, so on and so forth. But I think it's an excellent way to end the album. Excellent way to end a fantastic album, which I'm really glad to own. If you don't have this, pick it up on either HMV or his website or wherever else you can find it. But yeah, get this album, it's a fantastic album. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And next week, we're doing another David Bowie album. This is the month of David Bowie. It literally is. I've got 2 other albums coming up after that. But they won't be Bowie. They're going to be something else, or they might be Bowie, depending on how far I get. But yeah, I'm going to do Let's Dance next week. Let's Dance is next week, and then there's going to be a few more stuff coming up. But when the Divine Symmetry comes out, I will be reviewing that in terms of its sort of content rather than the songs, if that makes sense. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye!